great job developing talent at Louisiana, and so it's going to be interesting to see if he can make a big push for Arch.
All right. 256-576-4977. Some information there on Arch Manning. The other big, really, I guess, and we're going to be talking some more college basketball coming up here in just a little bit. But yesterday, Drew, it was announced Frank Martin out as South Carolina head coach.
Yeah.
So now we have Missouri, Florida, South Carolina, those jobs all open in the SEC as far as head coaching jobs go. Is that South Carolina job? Did Frank Martin leave South Carolina better off than what he found it?
I think so, because he proved they could go to the Final Four, but it's still a difficult job in the SEC. And I know we heard, John Frary in the first hour talking about candidates for Florida, and one of them he brought up might be the favorite at South Carolina, and that's Bob Ritchie at Furman. He's a guy that spent his entire career in coaching in the Palmetto State in South Carolina. And from what I understand, he's always kind of revered the South Carolina job as his dream job. And he, of course, turned around that Furman program first as an assistant and then has taken the head coaching job. And you saw it. It was, to me, of championship week, it was the best finish of any game. And it was in the Southern Conference where the Onions from Chattanooga, and that was an unbelievable shot.
Oh, almost a half-court shot.
About 40-footer.
Yeah.
And Furman was ahead by 2 and had not been to the tournament in 40 years.
I managed to watch that from my
they're
hotel
basically
room
the Georgia Bulldogs of for basketball. They had not won anything for 40 years. And it looked like with that driving layup with 4 seconds to go, they can taste it. Furman had knocked out
in overtime, right? That was in overtime that they had gotten that lead.
Yes,
yeah.
I believe so. And it looked like that that Furman had outlasted Buckyball and beat a Samford team by 1 possession the night before. And it was a really good game. And so it looked like Furman had done it again, that they had made a play to beat Chattanooga, who won the regular season and was the 1 seed. But Chattanooga had other ideas. They make the 40-footer at the buzzer to get to the tournament for the first time since 2016 and break the hearts of Furman. And so, but Bob Ritchie, I still think he's a very interesting candidate for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Very interesting, because I just think he's somebody that has built that program, probably taken Furman almost as far as you can take them. And I think he would be very interested in that job, and he'd have a lot of state ties, because really what South Carolina's had trouble doing, Scott, is keeping really good players at home. They're all leaving. And then, like, for example, John Morant goes to Murray State. That can't happen.
Right.
You have to discover him, and he has to be in a South Carolina uniform.
That wasn't on Frank Martin's watch, was it? Was that on? Oh, it was on. Okay.
Yeah. And then they couldn't get Zion Williamson because Zion ended up going to Duke and leaving the state. And so and Juwan Gary's a South Carolina kid from Columbia that Frank couldn't get. They've got to be able to get good players when there's good players in that state. They got to get them to stay home.
Easier to be successful at Missouri or South Carolina on the basketball side?
They're both tough. I would say
they're almost equal right now.
I would say Mizzou. I think Mizzou's a little bit better job, but again, right this year South Carolina was the better basketball team. But when you look at Missouri historically, it's a good basketball job. It's really a basketball school, but they haven't been able to find the right fit for much of for much of their tenure. But it's going to be interesting. I if you had to ask me though, I would say Missouri is the better job than South Carolina.
All right. Well, the NCAA tournament does get underway tonight. Texas Southern, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Wyoming, Indiana. Those are your first 4. Tomorrow night, Wright State takes on Bryant, and Rutgers takes on Notre Dame. Bryant, I don't even know where Bryant is from. I'm sorry.
I don't.
I have no idea. But you know what? Who might know? Rocco Miller might know. He might know all about the Bryant. I don't even know what their nickname is.
Rocco Miller is one of the best bracketologists in the business. We connected with him last year. He's based on the West Coast, so he's going to be coming on with us in the early morning hours. But I don't know how much sleep he's been getting, breaking all this stuff down.
But he may be able to tell us who Brian is, where they're from, and even their nickname. I don't even know.
I couldn't tell you.
We'll put the quarter in the machine. We'll call Rocco Miller when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck on Wall Triana right at 72. Overturned vehicle involved in that one. They paged it out with injury and entrapment, but they canceled Rescue 1 on it. And we've had wreck working 431 southbound at Simpson Point in New Hope. That started about 3 o'clock this morning. They've just reopened that stretch of roadway. Got QuickBooks? Snelling has positions for experienced accounting professionals. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Taco Bell presents a get-out-of-bedtime story. It's time to wake up from this amazing dream, even though you're jet skiing on lemonade. How extreme! And oh, look at that, you just won the lottery. Is that a castle? Take the keys, it's your property. What's better than swimming in space? Just wait for the big reveal. It's Taco Bell breakfast and it's actually real. So it's time to wake up and bid your dreams farewell. Cause toasted breakfast burritos are waiting for you. Only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. We all count on our home's electrical outlets to provide us the power we need when we need it. But sometimes an overloaded circuit can lead to a blown outlet, a major fire hazard. Safety is key when replacing an outlet or adding new ones, so leave it to the pros at Mr. Sparky. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want that money!
You know, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And if you are a fan of college basketball, and I'll say this, if you are a fan of college basketball, the NCAA women's basketball tournament is getting ready to tip off. Yeah. And, I mean, they're doing all kinds of things. I mean, obviously South Carolina, probably a prohibitive favorite on the women's side. You have the NIT, which is getting ready to tip off as well. And that is where my Northern Iowa Panthers are at, thanks to Loyola Chicago kicking our ass in the Missouri Valley Conference Championship.
But a very good Missouri Valley Conference.
Yes. So they're there. You got that getting ready to tip off. And then tonight, you've got March Madness getting underway with the first four. You got 2 games tonight, and you got 2 games tomorrow. And then, like I said, in the first hour, all heck breaks loose on Thursday, because that is when you wake up and at noon, you're going to get your first games. And really, starting from tonight until Sunday, well, maybe even Tuesday of next week, I don't know if we have a break from college basketball between now and in a couple weeks, because I really think there's a game, whether it be the NIT, the CBI, the NCAA tournament, whatever it is, you have college basketball on starting tonight, going all the way through for 2 weeks, I think every night of the week.
Yeah, you do. And our next guest is one of the best bracketologists in the business. And, he joined us last year during this process and really helped us, kind of break the brackets down. And, it was an honor to connect with him. And of course, he's one of the must follows this time of year. He's a college hoops bracketologist and analyst for the Bracketeer, basically. The Bracketeer.org is what he's created, and that's Rocco Miller, and he's with us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline from the West Coast. Really appreciate him joining us, getting up early. But Rocco, I know this is your favorite time of the year. Thank you once again for being on 97.7 The Zone with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, fellas. It's hard to sleep this time of year, and especially last week when all the anxious nights and results coming in before the actual bracket came out. Now, kind of living in the fast lane, just getting ready to watch games like everybody else. And, my wife and I have been down here in Las Vegas for a week, going to the tournaments, and now we just get to sit back and enjoy the games. So it's a great week.
In our area, we pay a lot of attention to SEC basketball, simply because we are in the land of the Southeastern Conference, where it does just mean more sometimes. Are you shocked at all by the 2 things? One, Tennessee not getting any higher than a 3, and Texas A&M not being in the field?
Yeah, how was your bracket? How did you have those? How did you have the SEC slotted, Rocco?
Yeah, those are the questions of the day, starting Sunday right after the show ended till now. What ended up happening, it's very kind of easy to see, just going through the process myself, serving on a couple of different mock committees where we actually follow the NCAA selection and seeding process to see what happened. To me, it's pretty clear that the work got wrapped up Saturday morning, that the loss that Duke had against Virginia Tech was not factored in. And also, of course, Tennessee's last 2 wins probably not factored in. And that also starts to explain Texas A&M a little bit, too, because that was the day they beat Arkansas by 18. So when you start to think about it like that, you could basically just go back to my Saturday morning forecast, which still had Duke as a 2 seed, had Purdue and Tennessee as the top number 3 seeds. And so what I ended up doing is I took a little bit of the bait, thinking that they still had a little bit of time left to do a little refresh, because I think at the end both Purdue and Tennessee had better resumes than Duke. But you can see where Duke won out. Now I know there's going to be a lot of complaining from a Tennessee perspective. I don't blame that, but from a road and neutral perspective, which every NCAA committee will tell you is very important. What you do away from home. Duke did have the 2 big wins against Gonzaga and against Kentucky. They had those in their back pocket all year long. Those happened early in the season. And so they were able to kind of ride that out to carry their resume. So I don't think it's super controversial from that standpoint, just because I understand the depths in which the committee goes through. I am somewhat glad that they care about the body of work and they're not just going off metrics. I think it's a much more thorough process to do that. And last year's committee, quite frankly, went off of a little too many metrics instead of caring about the body of work. So long answer there, but I do think that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. And then we're as far as the regionals, I had a hard time. The one that I've really am still trying to figure out. I'm leaning Wisconsin, but I'm pretty confident in my picks in the West and the South and the East, but the Midwest has kind of got me, flummoxed a little bit. I've liked Auburn all year, but I'm going off what I've seen down this 9-game stretch. Auburn only 5-4 in their last 9, Rocco, and their guard play has been spotty. I'm leaning to Wisconsin, knocking them out in the Sweet 16. But who do you like in that Midwest region?
Yeah, I mean, if they end up playing in that game, that's going to happen in Chicago. Probably have a lot of red in the arena for that one.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to consider for the bracket pick. I think the game that interests me the most out of that part of the bracket is the USC versus Miami game.
Yeah. Just
because I know I think USC is like the 3rd tallest team in the country. Drew Peterson's like a 6'10" wing. You can't block his shot. When he gets, the time they beat UCLA, he had 27, and I think he had a double-double. And so if they can actually get rolling, they can create tons of matchup problems. Miami basically plays 4 guards. Charlie Moore's been in college since probably 10 years ago, played for 5 different schools. So Miami's got all this experience, and but a very small team going up against a bunch of giants at USC. But I do think both present different types of challenges for Auburn in the second round. So I wouldn't be shocked if Auburn has their hands full no matter which team they get there. But I do think it's overall a great draw for Auburn. I mean, you look at all the other 7-10s, you look at all the other 3 seeds. This is about as good as they could have hoped for.
Should the rest of the country, or should we still fall in love with Gonzaga this year? They made it all the way to the championship game last year. They're the overall number 1 seed. And if you look at this year's tournament, we were talking about this earlier in the show. Last year it was Baylor and Gonzaga. Those were the 2 favorites. I mean, it was easy to pencil those 2 in all the way to the championship game. Should we love Gonzaga as much as we loved them last year?
I don't think quite that much, but, to your point, they're still a very elite team. And I've had the opportunity to see them in their last 4 games. They wrapped up the season with 2 in the Bay Area when they lost to St. Mary's to beat San Francisco. And then I saw them play the exact same 2 teams here in Vegas last week. So I feel like I have a pretty good grip on them. When St. Mary's beat them, they beat up Chet Holmgren. It's well documented that he's not the thickest guy in the world. He's a pretty skinny guy, but he's a unicorn. He's unbelievably hard to guard for several teams in the country, basically everybody except for maybe a handful of teams. You of course, have Drew Timme down low. And I think that's the whole key to beating Gonzaga. You have to have a very smart, a very disciplined team that gets back on defense, that has a game plan, and then you kind of have to make Gonzaga's guards beat you. And St. Mary's did that in both the games I saw, and it worked beautifully, of course, in their big upset win. And then Gonzaga was able to make enough shots to outlast them in the championship game, but that game was only a 3-point game with 12 minutes left. I think they won by 9 or so. So, St. Mary's is a very old, very smart, very mature team. But you got big teams and elite teams out there. Gonzaga's going to get Memphis perhaps in their second game. If Memphis is able to get by Boise, that's a very dangerous matchup. And Texas Tech, they've played them already. I don't know if Texas Tech has enough offense to hang with the Zags, but their defense can really give them a lot of problems. And then Duke's already beaten Gonzaga, who's the 2 seed. So yeah, I don't think they're as invincible as last year. A lot of the reasons they're still number 1 in all the Ken Pom and metrics is just because when they play a lot of their opponents, they'll still win by 30 to 50, and that kind of blows the numbers out of proportion. But you could just turn on that St. Mary's game from 2 weeks ago and see the blueprint to beating Gonzaga. But again, it's not easy. Not many teams can pull that off. But I do think it's not a shoe-in like last year was.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I've been, pretty amazed, and I'll be the first to tell you, because I haven't had a chance to see as much of the West Coast because of the late games coming on and seeing these guys play. But I know Tennessee beat them, which is another reason why I have Tennessee in the Final Four, because a lot of people love this team. What has made Tommy Lloyd turn this Arizona program around so quickly, and why are they so good?
So two things. One, he got to inherit a lot of great players from Sean Miller, so we can't discount that. I mean, Sean helped build that roster. It's another huge team. You know, Christian Coloco, probably the best defender that nobody talks about. I think when Arizona won at Illinois, which is a very difficult road win in the non-conference, Coloco was the MVP of that game. He had 5 or 6 blocks. He made Kofi Coburn's life a living hell on offense. And he's a key ingredient, like when they get in these big tournament games, I think, going down the stretch. But what it is it's Gonzaga's system. Tommy came over from Gonzaga, and make or miss for the opponent, they're running right down your throat. The other key is Ben Mathurin, well documented. He's an All-American this year. But over the summer, he played in the U19 FIBA tournament for Team Canada, was basically the MVP. His improvement has just skyrocketed. And he's got an NBA all-star type of game. He can shoot, he can drive, he can dish, he can jump out of the gym. He's a treat to watch. I got to see Arizona a couple times live this year. And it's not just those two guys. I mean, they've got like 3 or 4 bigs that can all play. Tubelis is very, very dangerous as a big man. They got shooters. They've got it all. And with Tommy's system and plugging all those pieces into his system, it's just been a beautiful fit.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people have them winning it all. They seem to be one of the chic picks, and a lot of people have him playing against his mentor, that he worked for 20 years, and Mark Few and Gonzaga in the national championship game. Well, Scott, I know you had a question for Rocco that we were joking about going to break. I looked it up on Google, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag here.
No, we were like, okay, so tomorrow night you get the final, the first 4.
Yeah.
I'm like, Bryant, who the heck is Bryant? Where is Bryant even from?
Yeah, Bryant, they're from Smithfield, Rhode Island, baby. And I'll tell you what, their coach, you're going to hear about him more in the future, Jared Grasso.
Okay.
He's a relentless recruiter. I think when the transfer portal first started getting rolling, like 2 off seasons ago, he had 300 offers out in the first day.
300.
He didn't really care. He just wanted people to get interested in Bryant because of comments like yours. Comments like yours got him hungry. And he's like an old-fashioned Italian guy. His name's being rumored for bigger jobs now that they won the league. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he gets the Rhode Island job, which is open right now. There's a bunch of other ones that will open soon. But they have a player, Peter Kiss. I think he either leads the nation in scoring or he's up there in the top 10. He plays with aggressive attitude. They're a very fun team to watch, and they're playing their best basketball. I don't remember the last time they lost, but the best team in the league all year was Wagner, and the last 2 times they played them, they blew them out. So they're a pretty dangerous team, especially for a 16.
Yeah, no doubt, and it's the Bryant Bulldogs, Scott. I know you're right.
Well, no, I was curious because this is the time of year where you love to look at the brackets because you don't know a lot about these teams. You don't see them throughout the year. You see them one time on ESPN if they make their conference tournament championship game. That is it. You don't know a lot about them.
Right.
So that's what's intriguing about March Madness. Is there a team that we're not talking about, Rocco, that we should all be paying attention to going into the tournament?
I guess I got to say St. Mary's, but they did get a tough draw.
Yeah.
So St. Mary's, Tommy Kusi's 24 years old. He enrolled in 2016, so he's been a part of the program as a walk-on for Randy Bennett for 6+ years. They just play with so much maturity and defensive execution and smarts. They're getting the same pod as UCLA up in Portland, and so out here in the West, that's really intriguing. Also a little unfortunate because those are 2 teams that I think have the goods to make a long run in this tournament. UCLA's already proven that. So I'm very fascinated by what happens in that matchup. I do think St. Mary's can get out of their first game, but I just think nationally, unless people watch that win over Gonzaga, that a lot of people are sleeping on them. Their average age of their starting lineup is almost 22 years old. They have a young phenom Augustus Marshallonis. His dad played in the NBA for a long time. Sharunas Marshallonis, and he barely even plays. That's how deep this team is. And so I'm very curious if they can beat UCLA. I think they're good enough to get by Baylor as well. So we'll see how that goes. So I'll throw them in the mix.
That would be huge. I mean, UCLA, we know the run they went on last year, no doubt. But yeah, St. Mary's 25-7, and they get the winner of that play-in game, Wyoming and Indiana. Is there any Rocco? Last year we saw UCLA go from the play-in game to the Final Four and nearly the national championship game. Is there? I know you just said you like St. Mary's. Is there another team like a UCLA that's a double-digit seed that maybe could go on a Cinderella run?
Well, I'll tell you, you know UAB really well down there. They are extremely athletic. They've got like 6 or 7 Power 5 players. You know, a lot of those guys transferred down from Power 5. Jordan Walker came from Tulane, best player in the or best guard in Conference USA. And my biggest concern with UAB all year was, you know, can they win multiple games in a row? They go hard. I mean, every time they play so hard that I was concerned when they get into the second round or, you know, especially the Conference USA tournament, for example, can they get through round after round playing that style? And they were able to win a triple overtime game in the semifinals and then come back and win a really tough final against Louisiana Tech. So that's certainly a team to watch. I also really like, it's same bracket, Chattanooga, another team near you. They're so disciplined. You know, they play great defense. D'Souza can shot block. That matchup with Illinois, D'Souza versus Coburn in the middle is really intriguing. But Malachi Smith's probably the best player in the SoCon, and so they have talent on offense. I like teams that play great defense, especially to pull off upsets. And I've had Chattanooga circled since probably 4 months ago. So I think this is a matchup they can find a way to win.
Well, I've got to ask you about this other first 4 game because it's going to involve the winner Alabama will face. Everybody is on Rutgers to beat Notre Dame. Do you agree with that? And then how do you see the winner of that game matching up with Alabama?
Yeah, I'm not sure because Rutgers is obviously a very deadly team at home. They did so much damage at home that's very well documented. But besides the win at Wisconsin, they didn't do a ton on the road. They did win at Indiana, but most of their road performances weren't as stellar. So I don't know what kind of Rutgers team we're going to see play in Dayton against Notre Dame. And Notre Dame, they've been kind of rolling along on the bubble for most of the year. I actually had them out just barely instead of SMU.
Yeah.
So not many, I don't miss on many teams. So, but they were right there. But I don't know if they have the goods because they play a similar system as Alabama, and Alabama's just got better athletes and better shooters. Of course, upsets can happen, and those are Power 5 teams. So it's not like a crazy thing to pick one of them. But I have a lot more faith in Nate Oates than maybe most. I've just been a big believer in him, and I think they're hungry at this point. They got those big wins early, then they had some head-scratching losses. I think they've just been counting down the days to finally play a March Madness game, and I think they'll be ready for that first game.
Yeah, they will, and then they would potentially face Mark Adams and Texas Tech. I don't love that matchup for Alabama because of the physicality and the defense, but I still think this Alabama team could put together a good weekend and a good run. I said the ceiling was Sweet 16, several weeks ago, if they could ever get it rolling. They have not been able to be consistent, but again, getting outside the SEC and being out on the West Coast and playing some teams that maybe haven't seen them might be to their benefit. But I guess before we let you go, Rocco, who do you like in the Final Four? I've had a hard time picking my fourth. I think I'm leaning to Wisconsin, but who are your 4 right now?
I've been spending so much time chewing on the bracket process, and I actually haven't even filled one out yet. But I just
same with me.
First glance at
there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I could see Alabama getting there. I'll be out there covering the West Regional. So if they get out there and any of your friends or folks come out, I'd love to meet up. But I will take Gonzaga in the West. Down in the East, I think that's just a loaded regional, but I do think Kentucky has the most potential. So I'll put Kentucky in the Final Four from that region. And I'll go. I have to go Arizona in the South just because they have the most talent. Tennessee, I love the way they're playing, but they just haven't done. Besides the SEC tournament, they haven't done a lot away from home, and the SEC tournament was pretty close to home. So again, they're a much more polished version of Rutgers. They didn't have a road win all year against a team in the tournament. They went 0-5 in 5 chances. So that's the one knock on Tennessee until they prove us wrong. And then down in the Midwest, I do think Iowa might have the upside. If they play the way they're playing, I could see them knocking off Kansas. And then we already covered Auburn's half of the bracket, and Auburn struggles down the stretch. You could see Iowa, if they keep this going, I know it sounds crazy, get to the Final Four.
Well, great stuff. Rocco Miller, bracketologist, bracketeer.org. Check out his work. Hey, man, you do great stuff. We're looking forward to your coverage from the West Regional. You guys, enjoy the basketball, and hopefully we can catch up with you in a little bit and in a few days and get your thoughts as the tournament rolls on. But we really appreciate the time.
Hey, my pleasure. Same to you guys. Keep up the great work. Love your show. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Marco. All right, good stuff there. Good stuff on your bracket. Hopefully that helped you fill out some of your bracket.
Well, I mean, I had to make
me any yet, but I'm still. Hopefully it'll help you. Let's get a break in, because when we come back, I know we talked Florida, but how interesting is their NIT matchup? We'll explain when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a couple of wrecks in Decatur now. One at 6th and Betty, no injury, but it's got blockage. Another one on the Beltline at the Kroger overpass. Decatur PD working to move it right now. 565 westbound near mile marker 1. That one may have had a minor injury. Wall Triana north of 72 had an injury with an overturned vehicle. 431 southbound at Simpson Point's been closed since about 3 o'clock this morning. They've just reopened that stretch of roadway. The flounder fish sandwich is only $4.49 at Popeyes, and you can make it a combo for $6.49. Popeyes, University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Attention Huntsville, this is your very last opportunity to purchase the best lakefront living for North Alabama. Saturday, March 19th on 43,000-acre Pickwick Lake, Alabama Land Sales will be offering the final release of prime lakefront home sites in a gated community with paved private roads, central sewer, underground utilities, and low taxes. Direct waterfront with amazing views starting at just $49.9. The first 4 phases of new-to-market parcels sold in one day, so set aside Saturday, March 19th to take advantage of this final release and learn more by taking a video tour at 888-544-LAKE.com, then call 888-544-LAKE for an early showing. That's direct lakefront with 153 feet of water frontage, just $49.9. Gated community, convenient to Huntsville on Pickwick Lake. Call or click 888-544-LAKE.com, then call 888-544-LAKE for an early appointment.
I love overpriced stuff. Avocados, designer t-shirts, artisanal water. That's why I get my internet from the other guys. Paying more for the same stuff. What could be better?
Wow is better. For just $19.99 a month, we give you the super fast, extra reliable internet you need. Act now before this deal is gone. Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, learn how to get up to $300 on us. Sign up at Huawei.com. Wow. Limited to new customers with auto pay and paperless billing. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
The PGA Tour's Korn Ferry Tour is coming to the Rocket City. Join us at the Ledges for the inaugural Huntsville Championship, April 29th through May 2nd. Experience the beauty and drama of the course firsthand. Witness golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. Cheer on the future of golf up close and personal. Tickets are on sale now at HuntsvilleChampionship.com.
Two Maids and a Mop. That's all you need to know to clean house. Two Maids and a Mop is an award-winning company, bonded and insured. Hire them for yourself, or they have gift cards if you want to make someone else's day. Find out more online at twomaidshuntsville.com. A maid service worth talking about. Two Maids and a Mop take care of everything. They supply all the cleaning equipment needed. Call 256-883-6243. The only finger you'll need to lift is the one to call them.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Two things in your tomorrow's headlines today. I know we talked about the Florida Gator job and Mike White and who could possibly replace him, and everybody wants Rick Pitino to be the head coach of the Florida Gators.
Right.
Rick Pitino is at Florida because the Iona Gales play the Florida Gators in the first round of the NIT.
Yeah, he's in a one-bid league, and they didn't win it this year, even though they won the regular season.
How funny is that, though, that Rick Pitino travels to Gainesville? He's not going to be the Florida's head coach. I'm not saying he's going to be. I'm just saying
with Billy playing on Billy Donovan Court, who he coached,
yes,
you knew they'd do that.
I mean,
Iona will win this game. They will beat the hell out of Florida. I'll just say that.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw that out there, that Rick Pitino is having to travel to Gainesville.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, on this day in 1990, since we've been talking a lot of NCAA basketball tournament, it was 11 days after Hank Gathers died of a heart attack on the court. Number 11 seed Loyola Marymount plays New Mexico State. Bo Kimball goes to the free throw line, shoots free throws left-handed to honor Gathers on this day. I remember watching that on TV. I remember everything about that Loyola Marymount that Loyola Marymount team of California.
Yeah,
I remember him shooting free throws left-handed.
I remember the second round. They beat Michigan like a rented mule. Who was the defending national champs. And you know who they played in the Sweet 16?
Who'd they play?
The University of Alabama. And Wimp Sanderson slowed the ball down, and Robert Ory had a shot that could have won the game. It didn't. Alabama passed up some open shots to hold the basketball.
In 90.
And they, I believe it was a 62-60 win for Loyola Marymount. They barely held on to beat Alabama. And then we all know what happened in the Elite Eight. They met UNLV, got blown out of the gym. And then we know what that UNLV team went on and did. They beat Duke by 30 to win Tark's only national championship. And then
I remember that UNLV Loyola game because people thinking they were going to shatter the NCAA scoring record.
And
because both teams
they might go to the Final
run.
Four. And then a lot of people thought with Hank, and all the emotion and everything that Loyola Marymount might go to the Final Four. But that UNLV team was on a mission. They destroyed everybody in the NCAA tournament. They came back intact. Imagine that. Because back in those days, none of those guys went to the NBA. Now the whole team probably would have. But they came back intact the next year, went undefeated until the Duke Blue Devils said sayonara in 91, beat them in the semifinals, and then went on to win Coach K's first national championship over Mark Randall in Kansas.
Let's get to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline real fast. Brandon's with us. Good morning, Brandon.
Guys, good morning. Glad to be able to hear you nice and clear today. Such a good job by Chad.
Well, that's what happens. You know what? I'm just going to give advice to people out there, and I have no idea why I'm saying this, but if you pay your bills on time, positive things happen. I'll just say that.
Well, being that you guys are in radio, y'all will probably appreciate this. Back in the early 90s, a guy named Kevin Daniels doing radio in Alabama now was over here. And they used to have this show on Saturday night when it was not football season, and it was called Crying, Loving, or Leaving. It was a radio dedication show, and it provided a lot of entertainment for people back before the Internet. And if I could make a dedication on that show today, it would be to Will Wade, and it would be, here's a quarter, call someone who cares.
I mean,
he meets all three criteria.
Will Wade's going to show up at a family reunion from here on out, and everyone's going to be like, well, what do you do? Well, I used to coach college basketball. Well, why don't you coach anymore? Well, because I can't.
Well, he'll be at a Texas JUCO. I did say that. I still think we'll see Will Wade coaching JUCO basketball in Texas.
Well, it seems to me that if you got that letter the other day and you know that a booster stole $500,000 from a children's hospital because that's how bad you want to beat Alabama, the first thing I would do is LSU would be, hey, we're making a $500,000 donation back to this hospital to make right what was stole from them to try to save some face. But I guess they're just too stupid to do that.
I don't know. I tell you what, though, thanks, Brandon, for the phone call. If you're Will Wade, what do you put on your resume now? I mean, what do you put? I mean, LSU basketball coach, they're going to ask you what happened at LSU, and you're going to be like,
well, you could say you know how to launder money. Congratulations to Cam Smith on winning the Players, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that? I think the first day of the Players, the wind was blowing so hard that the 17th hole, the aggregate score was like plus 66 on the 17th hole.
The Bryant Bulldogs, we were educated by Rocco Miller. Thank you to him. Thank you to John Ferry.
All right, guys, that's going to do it. We'll see you back on Wednesday. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.